You're going to see me go in and out there. I guess everybody will.
There it is. Not that big of a shadow. Beautiful.
Should I wait until 11? Okay. We are ready, ladies? Good morning, Facebook. Welcome to CFO Collaboration Live. My name is Echo Bell with Bell Solutions. We are Lincoln's CFO on the go. Want to welcome our entrepreneurs here today. I'm going to do a quick sound and video check while we let everybody get an opportunity to jump on. If you're already on, grab a notebook, maybe some coffee. We're going to break down the PPP program in a way that's simple, where you can go get the money you need and not have to pay it back. Sound all right? Okay. I have two of my fabulous team members here with me today virtually. We're going live from Bell Solutions headquarters. I've got Ashley Bell, our Chief Operating Officer, and Leah Landrum, our Payroll and Compliance Ninja, helping with support and questions today. So they will be assisting me here as I flog through and try not to completely fail at my first Facebook Live. Okay? Gonna do just a minute. If you're with us and you can hear and see us, would you do us a favor, comment below? Maybe tell us where you're from and what your business is about, name of your business or what you do. Want to make sure everybody can hear and see before we get too much into the detail. Again, my name is Echo Bell, coming to you live from Bell Solutions. We are Lincoln CFO on the go. We get the privilege and opportunity to work with startups, entrepreneurs, small businesses every day to provide the benefits of a chief financial officer without the price. CFO Collaboration is a piece of all the services that we offer our clients, which is really the strategic piece to our financial entrepreneurship journey. And so what we're doing today is we're taking our CFO Collaboration live information and kicking off a little mini-series for the public and other entrepreneurs. So, can people hear, ladies? Are we good?
We're good.
We got some comments? People can hear?
Yes.
Okay, should I begin the content? Okay. All right. So, again, Echo Bell, Bell Solutions. We are talking about the Paycheck Protection Program today. I want to start off with a slight disclaimer. And if you don't hear anything else from me today, this is really, really important. The Paycheck Protection Program is open until March 31st. But as we speak, in the last days, the House has passed a new bill that is going to bring mass changes and some really great additional pieces to the Paycheck Protection Program in the month of March. So my advice today is we're going to go through this. We're going to show you what you need to do, how to qualify, how to get your figures and your paperwork ready. But please wait to apply. If you are a small business with 20 employees or under, or you are a sole proprietor or an independent contractor, I encourage you to please wait. There is going to be a 2-week period coming available very soon for that specific group of people to get first go at the money and more money than we've been able to historically get in the payroll protection program. Now, all the details are not available yet because they are coming from federal. We're waiting on federal guidance as we speak. So everything we're talking about here today does apply and can get you ready to go get your loan. But there is new regs coming out that's going to make this even better and even more beneficial. So if you haven't applied yet or you're going to get a loan, I encourage you to please wait. I'm hearing March 9th, March 10th is going to be kind of the key date that this is going to potentially start. If you have already applied, you can call your bank and see if they can hold it. And honestly, if you're working with a small bank, they may tell you that they're holding them anyway because they're waiting on the federal regulations as well. Okay? Am I good, ladies? Okay. So, real quick, show of hands below. Can you let us know if you have a PPP loan, don't have a PPP loan, have a second loan, where you are? As we go through these mini-series with all the changes that are happening, I really want to try to mold the content that's coming to you guys through this group and through these mini-sessions to be the most relevant for what is what your specific situation and the most available information. So next week we're looking at taxes, but we may very well alter that a little bit just to get you guys the most valuable information that's coming as it comes available from the federal government. Okay? So, got PPP loans? Are we on first round, second round? Great. Okay, so Paycheck Protection Program. What is it? Let's start with the what. PPP, we are currently in our third round of PPP, so there's some confusion on the program itself. The Paycheck Protection Program came out last spring when the pandemic hit, and then a second round of PPP came out last summer, and now we are currently sitting in our third round of PPP. Okay, and all of those are the same program. Okay, so there's a lot of confusion. We've got a first, a second, and a third round of PPP, and we are currently in the third round. And the third round is set to expire March 31st. Again, there's going to be a time period here before March 31st that is specific for us little and micro businesses to take a greater advantage. In addition, there is a PPP that is for a second draw. Can you ladies see that okay? The words coming through? Okay. Second draw. So there's a PPP program, but if you've already got one, you can go and get a second PPP loan if you qualify. Okay, so there's a talk about the third, the first, the second. There's two programs. The first one is in the third round. The other is a second draw if you've already received a PPP. Okay, so let's talk about who qualifies, how do you get it? Okay, so this is one of the most simplest programs to navigate as a small business owner. We have got dozens and dozens of clients and people, PPP loans. It's a very simple application process. It's overwhelming with all of the rules and tax code and federal changes and all the different layers that they have here. So we're going to break this down into a very simple way for you guys to figure out how to apply and what you can get. Okay? So, do we have any second rounders, guys? Not that we've seen? Okay, great. Okay, so I'm going to break this down into two groups of people and make this just as simple as we can. So we've got small business. That you qualify for PPP if you are a small business with 500 employees or less. Okay? There is also sole proprietors or your independent contractors, okay, that have a special place here. So if you don't have employees, you still qualify to go get PPP. Now, up until this point, there is a group of people who maybe haven't been able to get it because of felony or bankruptcy or maybe some personal circumstances that when you get to the application have maybe eliminated you. That is going to go away here in March. So if you've been disqualified for those reasons, please listen up, keep aware of what the changes are because you are going to be able to apply this month, okay? So we're going to break this down into two groups and show you how to quickly find out what you can get, okay? So the calculation is easy. We are going to take 1 year of data, which I'm going to break out for you depending on which you are, what data you need to get. We're going to take that data number, we're going to divide it by 12, and then we are going to multiply it by 2.5. Okay? Sorry for my sloppy handwriting. Okay, so if you're a sole proprietor, this means you do not have employees. You do not pay yourself a W-2. When you file your income tax return, you have a Schedule C included in your 1040. Okay, if your business files a separate tax return, you are not a sole proprietor or independent contractor, okay? But if you get a 1099, don't get a salary from your business, a wage from your business, you are a sole proprietor, okay? This is a simple one. You are going to find your tax return from either 2019 or 2020. Correct that, Aaliyah? You can use 2020 if you've already filed. Okay, so whichever year is higher is the one you want to use, okay? And you're going to find your Schedule C, okay? And you're going to look for line 31. Okay? Line 31 divided by 12 times 2.5 is how much money as a sole proprietor you can get. Okay? Again, with the new regulations coming out, I think we're going to see a greater amount of money that we're going to be able to get. So worst case scenario, the information changes here, you're just going to be able to get more than this. Okay? So if you're line 31, if you have $20,000 on your line 31, divided by 12 times 2.5, that's going to yield you a loan of $4,166. Okay? Free money. If you're a small business, you are going to find 19 or 20, again, whichever is better for you, and you are going to find your payroll summary, okay, your payroll records. And what we're going to do is we're going to take our gross payroll plus our employer taxes. Okay? We're going to add the two together. Now, there are some caveats to this. If you have large, complex payrolls, if you have individuals making over $100,000, there are more specific and some limitations. So please reach out to your accountant or us or somebody who can get you more detail if you have complex payrolls. But 99% of everybody we do, we simply grab our gross payroll for that entire calendar year, plus the employer taxes. You add the two together, and that's your 1 year number. So if you have $50,000 in payroll, your federal and Social Security, Medicare and Social Security is going to be about $38.25. That will yield you $11,000 PPP loan. $11,213. Okay, so in terms of do I qualify, what can I get? It's a very simple application process. If you're a sole proprietor, an independent contractor, you're going to find your Schedule C. If you've already done 2020, look at 19 and 20 and compare the two. Okay? Take that line, divided by 12 times 2.5. Pull your payroll records, same calculation. Okay? Do we have any main questions, ladies, at this point from anybody on this? It's really hard not to qualify, guys. I've only came across one out of the dozens and dozens we've helped that haven't been able to qualify. The key thing here is just having good records. If you're a sole prop, this is pretty easy. Okay? Now, if you are going for a second draw PPP loan, okay, the same thing's going to happen, except there's two pieces I want to add. Okay, so the first thing is you have to prove that you've had a 25% reduction in your gross sales. Okay, so you need to look at 2019 and 2020 top line revenue. Okay, not after your expenses, those things, top line revenue. If you have made 25% less or a greater loss than that from 19 to 20, you qualify for a second loan. If you don't qualify through that, you can compare quarter 1 of 2019 to quarter 1 of 2020, quarter 2 to 2, 3 to 3, 4 to 4. And if any of those corresponding quarters, you have 25% loss in any given quarter, you also qualify. Okay? So same group of people, 500 or less, you just have to prove a loss this time. Now, note to self, that's going to get better this month. With that 2-week period I'm talking about, word on the street, and the banks are telling me that you're going to not have to prove the full 25 potentially. There may be some better terms for us. But as today, you have to prove a loss to get the second round. Okay, the other key piece to the second round is if you are a restaurant going for a second round, you get to take this number times 3.5. Second round. Okay, you still got to prove the 25% loss, but now when you take your total divided by 12, you get to multiply it by 3.5. Specific to restaurants for the second round. Okay? All right, so all of this is going to be posted afterwards, so I am going to erase. And where am I on time? Excellent. Okay, so once you get the money, the process for applying is very easy. Your bank, you can do it online. It takes a matter of minutes. It's about having your documentation. You're going to provide these two, and potentially they'll want your 941s. If you're working with the bigger banks, they want more stuff, maybe some bank records, things like that. Okay? But the application should take just a few minutes, and for your local banks, you'll have your money in a day or two. Okay, moving on. We good, ladies? Okay, my team's giving me the thumbs up.
Hey, Echo?
Yes.
Can you confirm for us that the loss is only in 1 quarter?
Yes, the loss for qualifying for second round, you have 5 calculations you can run for yourself to try to qualify yourself. So the entire 19 versus the entire 20, or quarter 1 19 compared to quarter 1 2020, quarter 2 2019 compared to quarter 2 2020, 3 and 4. If any of those 5 comparisons, you have 25% loss in 20 over 19, you qualify. Is that the question? Okay. Okay. And again, I'm hearing that there's going to be some extra goodies. I've heard a 20% and potentially not having to go off gross. So we don't know all the rules, but it sounds like it's going to be easier to get a second round with what the administration, the bill that's going through currently, potentially. Okay? All right. So once you get the money, nobody wants to pay it back, right? So what do we have to do to not pay it back? So you have to use the money correctly, and then at the end of the time to use the money, you have to go to the bank and ask for forgiveness. Okay? So we're going to break down the second part of this. To not pay for it is a term called forgiveness. Okay? And make this super sloppy for you. Basically, the banks, the SBA will refund banks for the loan, and you don't have to pay it back. It's a grant form. So once you get your money, let's go off of that 11,000 to 13. Okay, so you got $11,000. You have 24 weeks from the day you get your loan to utilize the money how it needs to be used. Okay, so maybe you can check this date for me, ladies, but if you get your loan on January 1, in June-ish, would be the end of 24 weeks. Okay, so from the day you get the money to 24 weeks later, within those 24 weeks, you have to spend at least 60% of the money you got has to be spent on payroll. Okay? At least 60. If you can spend 100, great. Okay? A lot of people get hung up on that. 99.9% of everyone we've got forgiveness for, 100% of the payroll is covered. And that's all you have to do. Okay? Now, if you're a sole proprietor or an independent contractor, this becomes not easy. The money's all yours. It all goes to you as the owner. Correct, Aaliyah? There's no caveats to that? Okay. So, within 24 weeks, there you get it, through 24 weeks, you have to spend at least 60% on payroll. If you can't spend the full 100% on payroll, the rest can go towards rent, utilities, accounting fees, your basic key. There's a list that will be on what we post of expenditures that you can spend this money on. But at least 60% has to be payroll, has to go towards payroll to be forgiven. Okay? Has anybody applied for forgiveness on here? Can you comment for us? If we have anybody who has applied or is seeking forgiveness. Yes?
Melissa has
Great.
gone for forgiveness.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's looking for her second round.
Excellent. Is that our Melissa? Yes. Well, we're going to get you one, Melissa. Okay, so you've used it correctly. You got the money, you've used it correctly. Now, I want to talk about a quick kind of myth or kind of misunderstanding that's happened with this portion of it. A lot of people call, and there's this feeling almost like the Dave Ramsey feeling, where we feel like we have to take this money and put it in a jar and dollar for dollar pay out of that pile. Okay, and so I think what's important to understand, and the misunderstanding of the use, is this can all go into your pile of money. What you have to be able to do is prove on the back end, after your 24 weeks, that at least this much went towards these things. Okay, so a lot of people get hung up and fearful that they're not doing it right. It can go into your main checking account. You just, in that time period, have to have the expenses that meet the requirement. Okay? So that part's easy, spending it, right? Nobody's not been able to do it on payroll that we've worked with. So once you are at the end of your 24 weeks, so let's say for argument's sake, June 10th is the end of your 24 weeks, okay? You have 10 months from June 10th to go apply for forgiveness. So that's roughly what, April 2022? Add up your months. Right? So you have plenty of time. After your 24 weeks, you have a full 10 months to go to your bank and say, hey, bank, I used this the way you said I had to. Here's my reports. Don't make me pay for it. Okay? So there's plenty of time from the end until you need to get forgiveness. Okay? Any questions, lady? I seen a movement over there. Yes?
Justin has a question.
Okay.
Specifically about the timing between first and second draw. So if we could just simplify, if you've gotten your first draw, when can you go get your second one?
Okay. Do you, I think you have to have used the full amount is the requirement. So you don't have to have forgiveness on your first loan to get the second loan. Correct, Aaliyah?
Correct.
But you have to have exhausted the money. So if you got your loan last Monday, you can't go get your second loan necessarily today. You have to have already used those funds. Now, you can use it in less than 24 weeks, okay? So I think you can apply within the 24 weeks. It's that you have to have exhausted the money that you have already. So you can't be sitting on $10,000 that you haven't spent of your PPP and go get more money. Okay? Is that the question? Did I answer it appropriately, Leah?
I do believe, yes.
Okay, great. A lot of changes. I talk about a lot of things, so I want to make sure I'm being clear there. But yes, you have to use the money first to get more money, okay? Which again, if you're a sole prop, is easy, right? It's all going to you. Okay, so once your 24 weeks is up, you go back to the bank that you got the loan from and file an application for forgiveness, okay? And what you're going to do is you're going to prove your use of funds. So real quick, comment, show of hands. This is the biggest thing that gets people. Do you have the ability to track your payroll and your costs? It's whether it's done through spreadsheets or an accountant or QuickBooks. That's really the piece here, that once you get your money is key to being able to get it forgiven, right? Because the forgiveness application is more simple than the initial application. It takes about 8 seconds to apply for forgiveness, and you're simply going to upload the payroll reports and or rent proof of the money that you spent, okay? And so this is a very easy step as long as you have your basic bookkeeping under control, okay? Track your records. It's necessary for business anyway, but that's really what you got to do is just have bookkeeping going on while you're using it. So when you go apply for forgiveness at your bank, you're going to upload the report that proves that you spent the money accordingly, okay? Forgiveness doesn't take long to get. I think I heard back from mine in a few days' time once I had the application into them. Okay? Okay, so we have a few minutes left. So I mentioned the secret sauce here. Okay, getting the loan is easy. Tracking the loan is easy. Getting the forgiveness is easy. When you break down all the crazy federal regulations, this is a very simple program to get through. It's the bookkeeping, but I hear constantly, if you're listening to the news, I got phone calls coming in all the time of people that aren't getting their PPP loans. And there is one difference, I think, between the people that are and the people that aren't. It is your bank connection. It is the financial bank that you work with. The larger banks are more rigid. You can definitely get them from there, but they don't cater to the small guys, and it's hard to talk with somebody. If you're working with the credit unions, now we love the credit unions, but most of them have not partaken in it. And so what I found is if you're working with a local small bank, and or an accounting professional that works with those banks, this process is nothing. It takes no time, it's very little effort, and everyone gets approved that we've done. The other thing to that is the small banks, we've realized that in our first rounds, the big businesses got it. So the small banks are on the front line. And in this last round, this third round, the local banks got to do this program before the rest of the big banks. Okay, so my biggest piece of advice here is to partner yourself with a small bank, a bank that works with small business, that you can talk to somebody. We have a lot of people working with the larger banks that there's no person and they're struggling and the systems aren't working. Okay, and I'll take this thought further, is if you've been through 1, 2, working on 3, still can't get it with your bank. Some of these banks aren't quite there yet. You owe it to yourself and your business to partner with somebody who can get you through the pandemic this year, because this isn't the last of these programs coming, right? So we're finding that the secret sauce is really having the right connection in the banking world, or partnering with an accountant that has those connections, so that this doesn't have to be difficult. It's a 5-minute application, okay? So that is the PPP loan in a nutshell. We do have a few minutes left. Do we have any questions, ladies, that I need to address?
Are you able to provide any banks specifically locally that you would recommend?
Absolutely. Can you please shoot them either my calendar link? Let's also post the main phone number. Please give us a call. I can directly connect you. I don't want to, on Facebook Live, necessarily, because it does depend on a couple of things, your industry. We have a few banks we work with. We work with all the local banks and have the connections within them. So please give us a call. Happy to connect you with the best one for your situation. Okay? we work hand in hand day to day with these people, have some really great relationships with the bank. So if you don't call us for any other reason, please call us for that, because it is the number one difference between all the people that haven't got it and the people that have. Okay? Okay. I have to say, I'm proud of myself. There's 4 minutes left. I was trying to do this in a half hour or less. We're going to go live again next week, the 10th. We plan on talking about taxes, but again, there's a lot of things coming down the pipeline, so we may slightly alter the content for next week. In addition, stay on this group. We'll keep pumping you the information that we're pumping to our clients here. So if something happens tomorrow or Monday, we'll get you guys notice, so you're not waiting until Wednesday to hear from us, because once that 2 weeks opens, that is the sweet spot for the micro and small businesses. Okay?
Another question.
Yeah. Yeah.
To get the PPP as the sole proprietor, if you've already gotten the SBA EIDL grant and trying to get the targeting grant.
Yes, you can. Absolutely. You can combine the two. Absolutely. And I'll take that further. I don't want to get too much into it here, but if you're going, you can refinance your EIDL loan in your PPP. There are opportunities for that. And I think that will be expanded even more here in March. So not only can you get both, but if you got the EIDL loan that you have to pay back, you can potentially refinance it in your PPP to get it forgiven. As long as you can pay out the records, you can convert the loan you have to pay back to not have to pay it back. If you choose not to use this or are unable to, you have, 5 years to start paying? It's 1% interest. It is the best loan you'll ever get. So let's say you got your $11,000 and you couldn't meet it. It still is the best terms that you will ever find on the planet in terms of borrowing money. Okay? But there are a lot of things you can do to meet this. If you're getting down to those last weeks, it's just a matter of strategy and looking at your numbers. Okay. Any last questions? Please email, message us. If you have any questions, we're going to post a link for a Calendly. Please, if you want to chat, get on the calendar. Happy to get on the phone with you guys, answer any specific questions, or get you the bank resources or accounting resources that you need to make this happen. But please don't not go with a PPP. Don't not get one. Too many people qualify that aren't getting them. So I appreciate everybody joining in today. Hope this brought you some value. We will be back next week. Again, stay tuned on this group page, because as federal regulations come live over the next days, we will keep getting that information to you. Okay? Are we good? All right. Well, again, my name is Echo Bell, Bell Solutions. We are Lincoln CFO on the go, coming at you with CFO Collaboration Live. Appreciate you tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you guys next week. Thank you all. Yes, ma'am. Hold on, one more. Yes. Yes, we will be posting the stuff that I put on here today. We are going to post on the group, so you can print this out, go through it, figure all the calculations, because I know my writing was really nice. So we'll put it together in a way where you can utilize that. But please pick up the phone if you have questions, okay? Bell Solutions, not your typical BS. Thanks, guys.